Let me say something that will probably make half of you angry. Kylian Mbappé might be France's biggest problem at the 2026 World Cup. Not their rival teams, not the tournament format, not injuries, their own superstar. Now I know what you're thinking. This is clickbait. This is ridiculous. Mbappé is one of the greatest players alive. You're right, he is. But here's the uncomfortable truth that France's coaching staff probably talks about behind closed doors and will never say publicly. A team built around Mbappé is a team that opponents have already solved. And at a World Cup, that is fatal. Here's a question. Nobody asks, when was the last time France looked genuinely terrifying as a team? Not Mbappé individually. The team. Think about it. When Mbappé is on the ball, France is electric. When he's off it, France looks ordinary. That's not an accident. That's a structural problem. The entire offensive system collapses into one man. Passes go to him. Runs are made for him. Opponents study him for weeks before a match. Every elite defensive coach in world football has a Mbappé file, a dedicated dossier, full of his preferred foot, his preferred runs, his timing, his patterns. He is the most prepared against attacker on the planet. And France keeps handing their opponents the roadmap. When Mbappé plays, France has one identity. Get him the ball and get out of the way. Remove him, and something fascinating happens. Defenders don't know where to look. Is it Dembélé cutting inside? Camavinga breaking from midfield? A striker making a run in behind? Suddenly France has no obvious answer, and that is terrifying to defend against. Football history is full of this paradox. Some of the best World Cup teams weren't built around the best player on earth. They were built around collective unpredictability. The 2018 French side that won the World Cup. Mbappé was incredible, but so was Pogba. So was Griezmann. So was Giroud. Opponents never knew who would hurt them. By 2022, everyone knew. It was Mbappé, and France still nearly lost. This is the part that France fans don't want to hear. When you protect a superstar attacker, someone else pays the bill. Other players track back more. Other players cover the spaces he vacates. Other players absorb the defensive pressure so he can focus purely on attacking. That is a hidden defensive tax on the entire team. Now imagine a France side where every player presses equally, every player defends equally, every player transitions without exception. No exemptions, no protected positions. That France becomes a machine, compact, relentless, impossible to break down. Not as flashy? Sure. But football trophies don't go to the flashiest team. They go to the hardest team to beat. Here's something that should scare France fans more than losing Mbappé. What happens when he retires? Because right now France has a generation of elite young players who have never truly had to carry anything. Why would they? Mbappé carries it for them. But the World Cup is the worst possible time to have players who haven't been tested. Remove Mbappé from the equation, even hypothetically, and suddenly you need leaders. You need players willing to take risks, take shots, take responsibility. And here's the brutal truth. Those players might already exist in the French squad. They've just been standing in his shadow. The World Cup is not the Champions League. You don't get 38 league games to figure things out. You don't get months of chemistry building. You get 6 or 7 matches against the best prepared opponents in the world, with enormous pressure on every single decision. In that environment, balance beats brilliance almost every time. Look at the last 5 World Cup winners. Argentina, Messi, yes, but a complete battle-hardened defensive structure. France 2018, collective football, multiple threats. Germany 2014, no single superstar, a perfect machine. Spain 2010, no striker, a midfield-based system that nobody had ever seen before. Brazil. Actually, let's skip Brazil. They keep proving my point in the wrong direction. But you see the pattern. Balanced machines beat single-engine supercars at World Cups. Imagine you're the coach of a team about to face France. Right now your game plan writes itself. Stop Mbappé. Double him. Foul him early. Sit deep. Make him come to you. Frustrate him. If Mbappé doesn't have a great game, France doesn't win. You've seen it work. You've seen France go quiet when Mbappé is shackled. But now remove him. Who do you stop? Dembélé, the striker making runs in behind, the fullback overlapping. You can't stop everything. And when a team can't be solved by a single tactical decision, that team wins more often than it should. Unpredictability doesn't just win matches. At World Cups, it wins trophies. Let's be absolutely clear about what this argument is not saying. It is not saying Mbappé is bad. He's extraordinary. It is not saying France should drop him. He'll almost certainly start every game. What it is saying is this: France's dependence on Mbappé might cost them the one trophy they still desperately want. And somewhere, in a training room in Clairefontaine, someone on the French coaching staff has looked at the data and thought the exact same thing. The greatest teams in World Cup history weren't defined by their best player. They were defined by what happened when their best player was taken away. So here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. And be honest, if Mbappé has another quiet final, is France good enough to win without him? Because if the answer is no, then France has a bigger problem than any opponent they'll face in 2026. Subscribe to Match IQ for more World Cup breakdowns, tactical analysis, and the football debates nobody else is willing to have.